resplendent by burning into a single flame. In the same way, all his worshippers will receive good retribution due to their contribution of whatever magnitude to Atash Padshah. You, Atash Padshah, will accept all my thoughts, words and deeds, good and bad, and will burn them all into ashes, and finally I will receive retribution from these ashes for all my good deeds of my life. The fifth one, obedience. Our soul has to follow the rule of give and take. In the end, God is the Lord. He fashions our lives and He shows us all the true path according to His rule. Just as I bow to Atash Padshah after placing this Rakhiyaa on my forehead, the same way I will live my entire life by being obedient to your guidance. And then finally, refinement and influence. Just like a needle becomes magnetic after being rubbed to the magnet, the same way this Rakhiyaa coming from your resplendent aura is a holy talisman for me. Hence, with the holy flow from this Rakhiyaa, may my body receive refinement and influence from it, and may I become resplendent like yours. Very wonderfully said, Dastur Sahib. Thank you for offering your wonderful thoughts. So now we go to slide number 45, the third part, Vakhshur-e-Vakhshuraan, Zarathushtra, Spitaman, our prophet, mathematician and astronomer. Stars have fascinated humans for ages. Some have worshipped it, others have studied it. Astron in Greek language means star, and astronomy is the science of the heavenly bodies. In ancient Iran, the study of stars and planets and its effect on humans had been a subject of research, and they made good use of the knowledge they gained from such research. There is a very good article by none other than the president of Vancouver Association, Faribur's Ranamun, and I will give you the reference later on. According to the 1st century BCE Roman historian Trogus Pompeius, Zoroaster was the founder of the Magian science and knowledge of the stars. Slide number 47. While there is a Zoroastrian tradition in astrology, Zoroastrians do not see Zarathushtra as an astrologer. Rather, we see Zarathustra as a wise person who developed an integrated understanding of theology, philosophy, ethics, the sciences including astronomy, health and order, in other words, active, meaningful, holistic, ethical, lawful giving. A few Zoroastrian texts do speak of Zarathustra as an astronomer and someone who built an astronomical observatory in Iran. I'm slide number 48. One of the primary purposes of this observatory was to measure time, maintain a very precise calendar, and predict the seasons and accompanying weather changes, in other words, applied astronomy. The calendar was used to make preparations for planting and harvesting crops. Remember, this was completely an agricultural society. Time for taking animals to pasture and on pastoral circuits, and even the starting and ending of the caravan season of trading and travel journeys along the Silk Roads that our own Dolly followed with some other people like Aban Rustamji and so on. So, slide number 49. Zoroastrian year in the old days started with spring equinox period, commonly March 21. The resulting calendar was very accurate. Some writers state that this system of starting the year on the equinox produced an automatically self-adjusting calendar that did not need to rely on specified intercalary leap days, but which were inserted automatically. Today, one of the important unification tools of the world communication, trade and commerce is the use of the prime meridian at Greenwich, an international dateline. But according to Faribur's, this notion of having a dateline is an Iranian one, and the ancient Greenwich was located in Sistan in Iran and was called Nimruz, meaning half day or noon. An observatory was built and called the Nimruz Observatory. Prime meridian was established at its longitude. Right now it is at Greenwich, England. In present measurements, Sistan is at latitude 33.5 degrees north and longitude 62 degrees east. The choice of the location of Sistan was based on the information that in those days, beyond 67 degrees latitude north, there was no civilization, and so they took the halfway point at 33.5. On the other hand, considering from east to west, Sistan was in the center of the ancient civilization. Thus, when it was noon, which is Nimruz, in Sistan, all the countries of the ancient civilization had sunshine. All the countries of the ancient civilization had sunshine. In the easternmost corner, there would be sunset. In the westernmost corner, it would be dawn. And many scholars attribute the Nimruz observatory to Zarathustra. By the way, there is still an area of Iran in this area which is called Nimruz district. I found this sketch in internet about Zarathustra's observatory in Sistan. How good it is, I have no idea. I'm on 51 slide, going to 52. I want to place where the three major parts of this demonstration is. Zarathustra is supposed to be born on the left-hand side near Lake Urmia, Azerbaijan, Iran. He traveled all the way to the east to Balkh Bactria to propagate his religion to Gushtaspa. And then the observatory is in the lower left-hand part in Sistan near Baluchistan, Iran border. Slide number 53. I just wanted to show you some interesting fact about why Sistan was chosen as the prime meridian in those days. The outside elliptical one is our current globe with the prime meridian in the black going through 0-degree longitude through the Greenwich, England. On the left hand side, we see 180 degrees west. On the right hand side corner, it is 180 degrees east. Now Sistan was on 62 degrees east, as I am showing in the blue line going through Sistan. And at that point, it was said that the meridian was called Nimruz, half day or noon, because in the shaded portion, as you see, when the sun is at 12 o'clock, midday at Sistan, the left-hand side to the west and the right-hand side to the east, the sun was setting in the east. On the right-hand side, sun was coming up on the horizon on the west, and that's why they used Sistan as the prime meridian in those days, and they attribute that to Zarathustra. So, the priests of Zoroastrianism, I'm slide 54, were known to the Greeks as the Magi, singular Magus. Plato called Zarathustra founder of the doctrine of the Magi. According to one of his disciples, Hermodorus, Zarathustra was a Persian and the first Magian. The head of Magi is sometimes referred to as the Arch-Magus. This is interesting. When I was in January of this year in Navsari to attend 150th anniversary of Navsari Mejirana Library, they presented Dasturji Kotwal with a book done for himself, and it is called The Gift of a Magus, and I just wanted to mention that. Zoroastrian called the position of Arch-Magus Mobed-e-Mobedan, the chief Mobed. According to the Zoroastrian text, Jamas Nama, the book of Jamas, as well as Western sources, Zarathustra was the first Mobed-e-Mobedan, and upon his passing away, the office was inherited by a noted contemporary Jamaspa, which in fact was his son-in-law, according to his own last Gatha Vaishtoish, where Zarathustra is initiating the wedding ceremony of his youngest daughter, Pouruchisti, with Jamaspa Havokwa. In Zoroastrian literature, it is Jamaspa and not Zarathustra who figures prominently as an astrologer. His book Jamaspi is very well known in many of the old Parsis because it tells them of what is going to happen in the future. Jamaspa was a contemporary of Zarathustra, as I mentioned before. He was Prime Minister of Zarathustra's patron King Gushtaspa, early supporter and disciple of Zarathustra, renowned for his learning, immense store of knowledge and wisdom. According to Zoroastrian old texts, after Gushtaspa accepted Zarathustra's religion as a court religion, Zarathustra prayed to Avramizda and conferred a precious gift to Gushtaspa, Jamaspa, Gushtaspa son Asfandyar and Peshotan. He gave Jamaspa flowers to smell, which gave him ability to see the future and predict events. We have covered this in our previous Tele class on Zarathustra's life. Okay, so this is the website of Faribur's Ranumun. This year we are entering 3751st year since Zarathustra celebrated vernal equinox with King Gushtaspa on Bak. 13 years later, Zarathustra was in his planetarium near Lake Hamun in Sistan when his calculation revealed that the vernal equinox of 1725 BCE would coincide with sunrise in Sistan in the kingdom of Bak. This is the reason why some of our scholars place Zarathustra before 1725 BCE. In other words, the New Year equinox means the sun crossing equator, and the new day, sunrise, would start at the exactly same time. He named that new year, new day, Nowruz. Thereafter, any year that the sunrise coincided with the equinox in Greater Persia was called Nowruz. Slide number 56. Another such event was recorded in Persepolis in 487 BCE. Persian scholars had pre-calculated, and King Darius the Great had built the Apadana palace to specification and placed the square stone at the entrance. Everyone gathered in their best attire and waiting the moment of the equinox. Just when the equinox was proclaimed, that means the sun crossing the equator at the same time sun rising above horizon, the first rays of the rising sun lit the square stone. This was a rare occasion, and dignitaries from all over the empire had come to see and pay their respects to the science of the Persians. We see that depicted in bas relief all over Takhte Jamshid Persepolis. I was there, and it is a wonderful sight to see. This year's Nowruz actually will happen in New York, where equinox and sunrise will coincide at 7:02 a.m. on March 20, 2013. It was a little later in Canada. Slide 57. One of this amazing fresco that I have found is the Raphael's, the masterpiece fresco. The name of the fresco is School of Athens in the Stanza della Segnatura in the Apostolic Palace in the Vatican. Raphael somehow painted this in a beautiful arch-shaped thing and included 21 sages, according to him, of ancient times. He started in the center, as you see, with Plato and Aristotle in the center. But Zarathustra was also one of the 21 sages, and he's in the lower right-hand corner if you see it, but you can see it better in the next one, slide number 58, actually nomenclates who is who in the 21 figures. And the slide number 59 is the detail of the Zarathustra. He's holding a celestial sphere in his hand. And Ptolemy, who is across from him, is holding the terrestrial sphere in the hand. Isn't that interesting that Raphael, a great master painter, found it important to have Zarathustra not only as one of the sages, but holding celestial sphere? Because in fact, Raphael and his corresponding people, contemporaries, acknowledge the fact that Zarathustra, one of the first astronomer and astrologer, This is the highest compliment by a master painter to Zarathustra, our prophet, mathematician, and astronomer. Now we want to come to the point at why we call Vakhshur-e-Vakhshuraan Zarathustra Spitaman. I requested my Mobid again, Mehraban Firozgari, and here is his answer. Vakhshur is actually two words, Vaksh and Var, just like Dastur is two words, Dast and Var, and changed to Dastur. Vaksh means expanding, increasing, intended to convey expanding halo. For example, waxing of the moon, and Var is the provider of the mantras, our religious scriptures. In general, Vakhshur has come to be synonymous to the reference to Prophet Zarathustra. Vakhshuraan following makes it superlative like King of Kings. So Vakhshur-e-Vakhshuraan Zarathustra Spitaman means Prophet of Prophets Zarathustra Spitaman. By the way, in very old Khorde Avestas, there are many Persian monajats and Gujarati also. And many times when it is about Zarathustra, they say Vakhshur-e-Vakhshuraan Zarathustra Spitaman. In fact, when Zarathustra is beautifully eulogized in Farvadin Yast, it is called Yehe Jathe Cha Vakshay Cha. That Vaksha is also the growth, and it is the same word that is